Fiancé told me he had a surprise for me and drove me to a house and said it was ours. Let me believe it, and then said it was a prank. Original post. We were out looking at Christmas lights tonight when my fiancé said he had a surprise for me. He usually isn't great with surprises, so I was intrigued. We drove a ways and pulled up to this house. Mind you, it's nighttime. It's a gorgeous house with a sign in the yard. He asked, "What do you think of this house?" I've been dying to move out of my cramped one-bedroom apartment, so I'd literally move into a medium-sized shack if I had the chance. So I told him it was very pretty. Then he said, "What do you see in the yard?" And I told him I saw a for sale sign, and then he told me to look again and pulled back. The sign said under contract. It started to click in my head, and I had started to get really excited. He let me sit in my excitement for a while before I asked, "Is this our house?" And he started laughing and said, "Nope," and we drove away. Am I overreacting? I haven't stopped crying. That was one of the cruelest things I think I've ever had done to me by someone I love and trust. Now for the top comments before reading the update. You're not overreacting. If this was a one-off and it just really fell flat, then I think I could let it go. But if this is a pattern, where he often pulls pranks that are cruel and not funny, then I couldn't be with someone like that. First cruel prank, other than an occasional jump scare here and there, and we both try to spook each other. I can't even fathom how incredibly unkind it was. This was intentionally cruel. He told you he had a surprise ahead of time. He drove you there with a plan. It wasn't just to look at lights. He saw that house, saw the contract sign, and said to himself, "I'm going to bring the woman I plan on having a life with here and lie to her about something she desperately wants." Then he did it. So I think the question is, what did he get out of this? Because if he says it was just a prank, that misses the mark because pranks are supposed to be funny for all parties. This isn't funny, it's cruel. I don't think it's healthy at all in relationships to retaliate. But this would seriously make me want to get a fake pregnancy test and leave it around for him to find. See how funny it thinks it is when it's a prank that is not funny to him. Again, I don't think that's healthy, but this was super cruel. Premeditated and intentionally cruel. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to cope. In this economy, you might want to rethink that engagement. Tell him you were joking when you said yes. We do not marry people who are mean to us. Please tell this person you were only kidding when you said yes to the proposal. This should be pinned to the top of every Reddit thread. We do not marry people who are mean to us. We do not stay married to people who are mean to us. Bad people are using the prank craze to indulge their previously banned cruelty. It was fun to him to upset you. That legitimately gave him joy. Let that sink in. The person that you're tying yourself to for the rest of your life got joy from seeing you hurt. You are underreacting. The trust it takes to make a marriage succeed is immense, and your fiancé is not trustworthy at all. Now for the update. I posted this back around Christmas time, and you guys had a lot to say. I just wanted to come back and say that, as of yesterday, the wedding is off. He started to show some very negative tendencies that lean towards abuse. Thank you guys for your support. This is not easy. The political climate is bringing out the worst in people, but on the bright side, we're seeing their true colors. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but your respect and trust with him will never be fully restored, no matter how many apologies are made. Ditch the boy. Real men don't try to emotionally manipulate their partners. You're right. Unfortunately, what really started showing his true colors was a disagreement over politics. I must have misunderstood. You said that you called off the wedding, not that you ended it completely. I usually urge counseling, but your boy has a mean spirit, and the practical joke is the first sign of the abuse in store if you stay. Next story. I kissed my brother and now my fiancé wants to break up with me since he finds it weird. Am I the a-hole? Throwaway account because I find this embarrassing to post, but my head is a mess right now and I need some assurance that I'm normal. Me, 25 female, and my brother, 17 male, have been close since childhood. It wouldn't be a lie to say that our main love language is physical touch. I see him as my baby. He's adorable and such a sweet kid. We hug, cuddles, and he also relies on me emotionally a lot. Now comes my fiancé, 29 male. We've been together for 3 years now, and he knows that I'm close with my brother. I moved in with my fiancé last year, so I don't even get to meet my brother that often. So every time I meet and hug him, my fiancé had always made some passing remarks like, "Whoa there," or "You guys sure are close." I just roll my eyes since I thought he was joking back then. But 5 days back, it was my mom's birthday, and it's been 4 months since I saw my family in real life, aside from video calls, as we live in different cities. It was a small party with relatives, and I was happy to be there. We were planning to stay for the night and leave the next morning. At night, me and fiancé were up watching a movie when my brother knocked and came inside asking if we could talk. My fiancé gave me a side eye, but I got up and followed him. I asked him what was wrong. He said he missed me and that he's been having a hard time at school since he's struggling with his studies. He's a smart kid. He's at the top of his school, unlike me, and I knew he always had stress issues. He also mentioned how his friends are being very rude to him in one way or the other, and this made him cry while talking about it, so obviously I was consoling him. We talked for around 1 hour before I hugged him, saying everything will be fine. And this is when my fiancé walked in and asked, "Are you guys done?" He sounded upset and he could have phrased that better. But after a few more minutes, I got up, gave my brother a kiss on the cheek, and told him we could continue to talk tomorrow. But once I got inside the room with my fiancé, I think hell broke loose. He started telling me how gross I was for kissing my own brother. He said he was already upset that I have hugged, cuddled, and had my brother lay on my lap before on other occasions, but now the kissing was the final nail in coffin. He said that I prioritize my brother more than I do for him, which is not true at all. I hardly see my brother ever since I moved out. He also said that I'm not seeing my brother as my family and that our relationship is not normal. He literally told me, "You guys are in love," and is having an affair, and that he hates how we touch each other since it comes off sexual. I'm aware a lot of siblings don't do physical touch, but it doesn't say anywhere doing it is wrong. I don't understand what is sexual about this. Please help me understand. These made me feel so awful, so I told him that my then father, separated now, was really abusive to my mom, me and my brother as kids, which often makes me feel like I should protect him, and that's all there is to it. But he didn't even let me explain before he just left the room. The next day, he called his mom and said he wanted to break off with me. I talked to her myself, and she said I should stay away from my brother if the marriage has to happen, since it could affect my fiancé mentally, as he is a single child, so he wouldn't understand how siblings feel. She said it's better for both of us. Now I'm so conflicted because I don't understand what I did wrong. I never felt like I did anything to warrant a breakup. I love my brother and I love my fiancé too. I knew my fiancé always made backhanded remarks about my brother before, but it never crossed my mind he took it so seriously until that day. Please, am I the a-hole? Am I really acting weird with my brother? If I am, please tell me what I can do to not be like this that wouldn't hurt my brother in the process too. A kiss on the cheek for your little brother? It's innocent. If you marry this man, he will constantly have a problem with you and your family. Can you see dealing with this for the rest of your life? He said that a kiss is reserved between a couple or married partners, and that I shouldn't be doing this with anyone even if they were family. He says that since I kissed him, it's gross for me to kiss my brother, since it would mean they both were on the same level, and I see my brother as a partner too, and that one day I would end up sharing intimate gestures we have with each other. This is possibly the worst thing I've heard from his mouth that day, and I feel disgusted the more I think about it. He doesn't like any kind of skinship between me and my brother. He's always made jokes about it in the past, saying we could be couples in an alternate reality, and I just accepted them since those sounded harmless. I'm honestly still shocked he thought seriously about this. He's also been upset about my brother laying on my lap once. This was a year ago, and I was on the couch watching TV, when my brother simply rested his head on my lap while he was playing some kind of game. My fiancé walked in a while later, and we did have a short conversation at dinner, saying he didn't like it, and that I'm supposed to be having his head on mine instead of my brother. I genuinely don't get it, since it's not like I ever told him I wouldn't allow him to do the same. but he dislikes that my brother did it. I did apologize back then, since he seemed very upset. We didn't bring this up again, and he's only made more backhanded jokes since then. I would have never imagined this to go this way, and I'm so lost. If he gets this jealous about family, what if she has a close work friend? Oh no! This is clearly unhealthy. You should see this as a red flag and walk away. Fiancé is making an issue where there is none. Never mind that the male is a minor and your blood relative. He's accused you of incest and pedophilia for kissing your brother on the cheek. Please don't marry him. He's possessive, jealous, controlling, and unhinged. You're going to have a miserable, isolated life if you do. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for making my brother's fiancé take a paternity test before paying for their wedding? 32 female here. My younger brother, 28 male, has always been a bit impulsive. He met his fiancée Emma, 27 female, last year, and within 6 months, they were engaged. A month after that, she got pregnant. Our family was shocked but supportive. My parents are not wealthy, but I've done well for myself, and my brother asked if I could help pay for their wedding. I agreed, with one condition, a paternity test. Before you judge, hear me out. Emma was dating someone else right before getting together with my brother. I have nothing against her, but the timeline of her pregnancy made me suspicious. My brother is positive the baby is his, but I wasn't convinced. If I was going to shell out $20,000 for a wedding, I wanted to make sure he wasn't being played. Emma was furious. She called me cruel and said I was trying to humiliate her. My brother was torn, but eventually agreed because he really needed the money. The test came back. He's the father. I apologized, and I thought that was the end of it. But Emma refuses to forgive me. She disinvited me from the wedding and told my brother she never wanted to see me again. My brother is upset, but says he has to side with his future wife. My parents think I was out of line, but some friends say I was just being cautious. So, am I the a-hole for making her take a paternity test before paying for their wedding? Now for the top comments. The timeline doesn't add up. She was dating him for 7 months before she got pregnant. You can't carry a secret love child for 7 months. She was mad because the timelines didn't correlate, and you were accusing her of cheating. The timeline never even made sense, so of course she was pissed. You're the a-hole. You called her a cheater because you can't do math. I apologized, and I thought that was the end of it. Yeah, I don't know what you were thinking here. While it's possible you had justified concerns, you permanently damaged your relationship with your future sister-in-law by making that request, and simply apologizing and thinking it'd blow over was never going to work. At least you're someone who can hold their end of a bargain, though. That being said, I think it's pretty crummy of them to take your money while also throwing you out of the wedding. I guess that tallies it up to everyone sucks here. You're better than me. I was going to suggest that OP pay for a courthouse wedding and small family dinner. There were probably some other things going on with the new girlfriend that gave her a gut feeling. I don't blame her. What wedding are you disinvited to? They can't pay for one, and she probably shouldn't marry someone who would agree to humiliate her for money. I wouldn't, but it's her money, and that was her stipulation. They can say, F you and you're out of our lives. Up to them if they want to be treated like dirt. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother's fiancé wear my late mother's wedding dress? I, 30 female, lost my mom 5 years ago. Before she passed, she gave me her wedding dress. She told me she wanted me to have it, whether I chose to wear it at my own wedding, repurpose it, or just keep it as a memory of her. It's one of the most sentimental things I own. My older brother Jake, 33 male, is getting married in a few months to his fiancée Laura, 29 female. We have a good relationship, but we're not super close. Last week, Laura asked if we could meet up for coffee, and that's when she dropped a bombshell. She told me she had always dreamed of wearing a meaningful dress when she gets married, and thought it would be so special if she could wear my mom's wedding dress. She said it would be a beautiful way to honor my mom at the wedding. I was completely caught off guard. I told her that while I appreciated her sentiment, my mom gave the dress to me, and it was very personal. I wasn't comfortable letting someone else wear it, especially because I still might want to use it in some way for my own wedding one day. Laura immediately got upset and said I was being selfish. She told me it wasn't fair because she never got to meet my mom, and this would be a way for her to feel connected to her. She also said my mom would have wanted her to wear it since she's joining the family. I stood my ground and told her no. I suggested she find another way to incorporate my mom's memory, maybe by wearing a piece of my mom's jewelry or a pair of her shoes. But Laura said that wasn't the same. Now my brother is involved, and he told me I should reconsider, because it would mean a lot to Laura. He said I was being unnecessarily difficult over just a dress. Even some of my relatives are saying I should think about the bigger picture and how this would be a touching tribute. I feel guilty, but at the same time, this dress means the world to me. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to let her wear it? Not the a-hole. Don't be guilted into hurting yourself for others. You said no. Everyone trying to push you is showing you huge disrespect. If you had a sister that was asking to wear the dress, a discussion would be reasonable. There should be no question that you get the right and privilege of wearing your mother's dress. It is not just a dress. It was a moment when your mother was glowing with happiness imprinted in that fabric. It is a way for her to share in that same moment and feeling with you. Don't let anyone intrude on that moment you will share, especially since she is gone. Just to say to all those idiots in your family, what could be a better and more touching tribute than her daughter wearing her wedding dress? You know, for the bigger picture? Yes, for them to say it's just a dress means they do not understand and probably cannot either. Stand your ground. Not the a-hole. Your mom gave the dress to you. Had your brother approached you first, maybe this would be a little more palatable. But I don't think she should be wearing this dress, and you're not an a-hole for saying no at all. That's the thing. My brother didn't approach me beforehand. I'm 90% sure he'd never even mentioned that dress to me or thought about it before all this. Not the a-hole, and make sure they can't steal it. I've hidden it away under my bed so they can't steal it. Lol. So reassuring that I'm not the only one thinking they were out of order. Do you happen to have a trusted friend that could hold a dress? Or somewhere a bit more secretive? I feel like a lot of people would think to look under the bed, as crappy as it sounds.